Good evening and welcome to Get Real with Ralph. I am your humble host, Ralph Nudi, coming to you live from the studios of AM 1050 WLIP in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And simulcast live from Kenosha to the Canary Islands and all across the world via our YouTube channel. Just go to GetRealWithRalph.com. That's GetRealWithRalph.com.
Stuck in the middle with you. Yes, I'm stuck in the middle with you.
You know what we're all stuck in the middle of? These elitists that want you to think that celebrating Italian-American history and remembering the suffering and sacrifice of Native Americans are somehow mutually exclusive of one another. Hey, you know, we can and we should certainly have a day to honor the indigenous peoples of America. Just not on Columbus Day. Like every other part of American history, Native Americans are important to our national story. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I will never back down from my assertion that the United States of America is the greatest country in the entire history of humankind. But I will acknowledge that it took a lot of violence to get us there. There have been winners and there have been losers since the beginning of mankind. There have been wars since the beginning of mankind. There have been the oppressors and the oppressed since the beginning of mankind. We're going to talk about this ridiculous move by people who demagogue any issue they can to further divide us, and how Italian Americans overcame being perhaps at one time the most discriminated group of Americans to be part of our national fiber. We have special music guests, the Flannels, and more tonight on Get Real with Ralph. Good evening, and once again, welcome to Get Real with Ralph, and this is Ralph Nudi in the studios at AM 1050 WLIP. We've got a great show tonight, and of course, I'm going to introduce you to the people in the studio that help make this show great. But before I do that, I want to dive into this subject here about this movement to almost abolish Columbus Day or replace it with Indigenous Peoples Day or Native Americans Day or whatever you want to call it. And the reason I want to address this is because this attempt to divide all of us that we keep talking about, it doesn't really seem to matter what it is, just knows no bounds. Italian Americans are a tremendously important part of our national culture, part of our history, part of who we are, and so are Native Americans. And to pit one group against the other or make people feel like you can't acknowledge one without taking sides against the other, you can't acknowledge one without being an oppressor, is a ridiculous assertion. Growing up in Kenosha, Wisconsin, with family members that immigrated from Italy, I had a great sense of pride in Italian-American traditions. As a child, I would spend large amounts of time with my great-grandparents who came to this country with absolutely nothing and started a life here for my grandfather and his siblings, where every child of theirs lived a life basically wanting for nothing. I consider myself fortunate. And although my mother was not Italian at all, she immersed herself in my father's family and herself was proud of those adopted traditions, as well as a lot of people that have not one drop of Italian blood, but really just love some of the traditions and the culture that come from the Italian-American people. I guess from a technical standpoint, approximately 25% of me is 100% Italian, which means although I share the name, some language and cultures, and foods with the people of Italy, when it comes down to it, regardless of actual ancestry, 3 generations in, we're about as Italian as the Olive Garden, which I guess makes my kids about as Italian as Pizza Hut. But still, it's a culture and a tradition that I'm really proud to be a part of. I visited Italy in my 20s as a member of the United States Air Force National Guard, and I spent some time with my great aunt and some cousins of mine, and I found it to be just a beautiful place, and the connection between the United States of America and Italy is it's a bond that will always be there. This move in recent years to abolish Columbus Day in the name of Native Americans or indigenous peoples is really a deplorable act of hatred that is stacked on top of years of what really is still an underlying hatred for Italian Americans by some people. Not everybody, not even a majority. It's a very small minority, but they plant these seeds. The celebration of Columbus, who was a pioneer of his time and a true hero for risking life and limb to prove there is a path to the Indies by sailing west, and in doing so connected the continents of the world, and the honoring of the Native Americans who had already settled the North and South American continents do not have to be, nor should they be, mutually exclusive of one another. You know, when we're discussing historical events, we tend to make this big mistake of judging the actions of the eventual winners of the struggles and wars of history based on modern-day morals, and yet we ignore the transgressions of the defeated because, of course, they've been defeated. This is a mistake. The actions of both would be barbaric by today's standards, but in their time in history, they were necessary skills for survival of a society. The stronger a society, the stronger a family could be in that society, and the greater likelihood not only of survival, but of the continuance of an individual's offspring. This is just in the very DNA of every human being. As we have become a more civilized and humane society, the skills needed to survive and thrive have evolved, and as such, so have our morals. Killing is no longer a skill necessary to the survival of most human beings. Today's powerful and elite use manipulation and social pressure to maintain their status at the top of the human ecological food chain, and one of their greatest cons is to use guilt and to pit groups against one another. Of the many excuses made for getting rid of Columbus, there are the narratives that Columbus and his successors took slaves, spread disease, wiped out populations, conquered indigenous peoples, and committed atrocities that today we'd be quick to bomb or invade a small Middle Eastern country for doing the exact same actions. But again, in the course of human history, these were the ways of the time, and virtually every religion, race, and creed took part in these sorts of things. The Indians, the American Indian, that is, Native Americans, indigenous peoples, or whatever name you prefer in the name of political correctness, these people were no different than the people of the time. If you look to the history of the Aztecs, the Incas, the Comanches, they all owned slaves. They all conquered other nations. They all had warring factions. Just like early Europe had tribes that warred against one another. The difference at that time between Europe and the West was that Europe had a longer period of time to become more civilized and to become more organized and to become better at waging war. Who knows what the world would have looked like had Columbus not discovered America right then and there, or had we not sailed west to find the east for another 100 or so years. Who knows what the world would have looked like, for example, in the 1940s when the Empire of Japan had the idea that they wanted to take over the world if there wasn't a United States of America. Perhaps the indigenous peoples by then would have formed a nation of their own and they would have been allied with them. We really don't know what would have happened. We only know what did happen. Later on in history, the Cherokee, the Chickasaw, the Choctaw, the Creek, the Seminole, all owned African-American slaves. Every single one of them. The ways of the American people at many times in history were barbaric and they were wrong by today's standards, as were those of many American Indian tribes. The Comanche were so cruel and barbaric to American settlers that did nothing more than just move on to lands that their government, the authorities told them they had the right to move on to, that they were scary. If you want to hear barbaric, you should listen to the story of Matilda Lockhart, which is a story that I posted. A 16-year-old girl that was among a group of white settlers that the Comanche came and burned women and children at the stake. They skinned people alive. They raped. They tortured. They did many, many evil things. I am not saying this as an indictment toward the Native American, just as the actions of the white settlers shouldn't be an indictment of Caucasian Americans in this day and age. Those were the tools and the resources that desperate people had at the time to try and survive. It's nothing that we would do in this day and age. But to turn around and blame one group of people exclusively, or several groups of people exclusively, for what was going on in the world, it just doesn't make any sense. I posted an article also today from the New York Times, and it is on my Facebook page, and I'll try and put it up. And, history is a peculiar thing. Every player in this recipe deserves his place in it. Italian Americans are part of our national story as well, and their story is more aligned with that of our nation's other minority groups that have been oppressed than they are with the oppressors. The New York Times itself had some awful racial epithets that they used toward Italian Americans. There was a lynching in New Orleans in the late 1800s in which 11 Italian Americans, who had been, 6 of them had been acquitted for a crime against, I believe, the sheriff at the time, were all rounded up and lynched. Just this year, the mayor of New Orleans finally issued an apology for those 11 Italian Americans. But back then, the press treated them terribly. The New York Times itself, which published the article today, called itself out for calling them wops, calling them dagoes, calling them guineas, which was also a term used for African American slaves. But these people persevered. They became part of the fabric. They were a big contingent of many, many Americans of every race, of every culture, of every ethnic background that banded together to defeat the Axis in World War II and lead us to a better world, a world that's closer to where we are now. So it's time we stop dividing and finding villains in our past and acknowledge that our shared national experience, the good and the bad, is what makes us what we are today. After the break, we're going to come back, we're going to discuss this, and we're going to talk about our musical guest. Stay tuned.
I'm pretty sure our new house might be haunted.
What makes you say that?
The furniture is levitating. Oh, and the ghost.
Welcome home.
Yeah, that's spooky.
You know what's really scary? Missing out on Geico for help with homeowners and renters insurance. Geico makes it easy to save a bunch.
Great! You're not sticking around, right?
The party's just getting started.
Happy Geico-ing. Call today and see how easy homeowners and renters insurance can be.
Asthma symptoms can attack anywhere, like on a city street. Now, you can get fast relief anywhere with new improved Primatene Mist, the only FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. So whether you need relief of symptoms at the park or at your kitchen table, Primatene Mist starts working quickly, opening up your airways to restore free breathing. For temporary relief of mild symptoms of intermittent asthma, use Primatene Mist and breathe easy again. Available at CVS, Rite Aid, and Walgreens. Use as directed.
Hi, if you're looking to move in or out of southeastern Wisconsin, go to 262KenoshaHomes.com where you can find the value quickly of any property, and you can also search for any property that you may be interested in buying. And if you want expert advice, make sure that you contact the success team at eXp Realty. That's Ralph or Ben. You can get hold of us at area code 262-656-7171, or again, go to 262KenoshaHomes.com.
Are you looking for the hottest places to have a dinner date or the coolest places to grab a drink and appetizers with friends? Well, 262 Eats has it all. 262 Eats is a local food show that features the best the area has to offer. Watch Ralph Nudi as he samples the food, interviews the owners, and takes you inside and behind the scenes of the favorite places of locals and travelers alike. Be sure to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel to win prizes, gift certificates, and get special discount offers. That's 262 Eats.
I've been to Rome, Dallas, Texas. Man, I thought I'd seen it all. Around the world, searching every corner. Man, I thought I'd hit the wall.
And we're back in the studio here at AM 1050 WLIP. A little Van Hagar there. That's Van Halen with Sammy Hagar. Today is Sammy's birthday, huh?
72 years old today, man.
Man, he is turning into an old bastard right before our eyes. I can't believe it.
He's the youngest 72-year-old man on the face of the earth.
Love Sammy Hagar, man.
He's the greatest.
He really he defined Van Halen for a generation or for a decade and took him in a different direction that I think was equally as good as the first decade, just different. He had an amazing accomplished solo career, and the Red Rocker is definitely one of my favorites. I was telling you before we came on today that I saw him with The Circle at Summerfest a couple of years ago with an all-star cast of musicians, and wow, he just
fantastic.
He is.
He makes more money away from music.
Yep. With his tequila.
With his tequila. And
he's a marketing genius.
Oh, my God.
He really is.
And he's happy all the time, man.
Well,
I mean, I'm just...
How could you not be happy? You're Sammy freaking Hagar.
Right. But so many rock stars out there have everything, and they're just like, whoa, this sucks. You know, I mean, this guy just he loves to live life.
I think that's why he got famous for being happy.
Yeah.
He's the antithesis of Kurt Cobain, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
The depression rock.
No, he was never
90s.
really big into the drugs.
No,
like a lot of these other guys were. No, he had his time. He did his thing, but he just hey man, he'd leave a party. He'd come back 3 days later. These guys are still up partying. He goes, man, you guys are crazy, man.
Yeah,
and all those guys are dead.
I read some of the biographical accounts of him when he was with Van Halen, and he'd walk into Eddie Van Halen's house, and they would be sleeping on mattresses on the floor. They were multi-millionaires, and they never even bothered to buy furniture for their mansions because they were too busy just drinking straight out of the bottle and acting like a bunch of idiots.
But hey, Sammy Hagar's birthday, folks.
Great guy.
Great guy.
In the studio with me, of course, this is Jim, the great Jim Celovich, who has been an instrumental part of developing this show over the past we're almost 6 months in. Can you believe that?
Are we really?
Well, May, June, July, August, September, October.
Right,
yeah, we're 5 months in. Wow. We're going to be 6 months in pretty soon.
Holy cow.
And if you're seeing this on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, that is Raynell Owens, who is our video producer. If you see me on Facebook, well, that's just me going Facebook Live. Just started doing that this week. We've got the Flannels in today. They're a local cover band, and so we're gonna hear a couple of covers. But I want to expand on this subject.
Yeah.
And if you're listening either on the internet or at home, and you want to call and weigh in on this, 262-694-1050. That's the number, 262-694-1050. Should Columbus Day go on as it is, as a celebration of Italian-American heritage without all of the controversy? That's what I'd like to know. Should Columbus Day go on, celebrate without the controversy?
They're living up for the states, obviously.
Well, it's a national holiday. The states
are
just kind of...
Right. Well, it's not observed in Florida, Hawaii, Alaska, Vermont, North Dakota, or South Dakota, rather.
Well, I'm disgusted that our own school board doesn't turn into a holiday. I just don't understand why, in a town that was so largely settled by Italian immigrants, that we wouldn't take that day. We take plenty of, I think we take Flag Day off for crying out loud.
Not me. I'm working tomorrow.
Well, I'm working tomorrow, too. I'm in the business world. But there's no observation of it at all. It's been stricken from our national history and treated as if it's some sort of national disgrace. And I just find that so wrong.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I'm part Italian myself. I have Italian relatives, obviously, and I'm proud of my Italian heritage as well.
It's a great heritage to be part of, and it's. been a great part of this country's moral fiber in a good way. Yeah, everybody likes to glorify the bad of every culture. Everybody wants to talk about the Godfather.
It was
and Goodfellas
It was a different time.
Yeah.
Let's go back. We're talking how many 600 years ago?
Yeah.
500 to 600 years ago.
Yeah.
They didn't know they're coming into them. I'm not defending or what have you.
Indoor plumbing hadn't even been invented yet.
Right.
Let's put it in perspective.
And, it was a time where, people going to explore and, they put the big boats out and they do the different things. You have these, you have these discoverers out and about. And this happens that, what happened. And then, it is horrible.
Of course it is.
And we're not downplaying that. Absolutely.
The Europeans were just better organized, more well-funded warriors. Mm-hmm. And you know what? The natives that greeted Columbus in his journal, he talked about how accommodating they were and how wonderful they were, and he was the same way back to them. Everyone wants to blame the Europeans for bringing their germs here, as if you knew that would be like my kid gets sick today, and I'm going to blame the parents of the other kid because their kid was sick a couple of days earlier and they didn't know it.
Right.
It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous narrative. Yes, people got wiped out by germs. People got wiped out by disease. It wasn't germ warfare. We weren't taking a germ bomb and blowing it up and having this sinister view of, hey, let's kill all these people. This was a time in history where if you didn't expand your lands as a country and find places to farm, places to mine, places to gather natural resources so that you could continue to further build up your armies and your navies, you had to worry about being conquered by the nation next to you.
Right.
And if you were England, it would have, it might have been France. If it were Scotland, you already lost to England and you just gave up and became part of it and assimilated. If you were Ireland, well, that was another story. And the Americas just became a furtherance of that.
Right.
It's not how we do things now.
No, absolutely
It's not how we need to do things now.
Correct.
But in that day and age, if you didn't do that as a nation, it was going to be done to you. Mm-hmm. And we have this horrible, horrible habit of judging historical figures by the morals and the circumstances of today. And it doesn't make what they did better, but it makes it understandable. You can't pass judgment in a vacuum. And that's the bottom line.
Well, it goes back to European traders coming over here. Let's talk about Plymouth Rock. Okay,
right.
1600s. Was it the Wampanoag Indians were the ones that sat down with them?
But
that was already before. Before that, European traders were there,
and they were good to one another. And then further waves of traders came, and they probably encountered other tribes that were barbaric to them, and then automatically made the assumption that they're all barbaric. And the Wampanoag Indians did end up getting wiped out, not by the Pilgrims, but by other English settlers.
Yeah, the traders and things as such. I mean, there were maybe 100,000 back then in 69 villages, in that area.
Right.
And nowadays there's like maybe 4,000 of them.
I don't want to take away from the fact that there were 10 million natives when Europeans first came here, and by the turn of the century, there was only 1 million. I don't want to take away from that.
No.
I don't think that was a good thing that happened, and I'm not insensitive.
Right.
But you cannot just turn around and use guilt and talk about how awful the American people are today for creating this country that is now the most tolerant and the most benevolent nation on the planet. You just can't. Yes, sometimes we still have people that are intolerant of one another. But I would take it over anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
I can't think of another place in the world where you're going to have more opportunity no matter what your gender, no matter what your skin color, no matter what your sexual preference, no matter what your religion, no matter what your height. Look at me. I mean, come on. 5'4", nobody gives a darn, right? I'm kidding.
It's the tall people.
But I'm not.
I always say it's the tall people or the freaks of nature.
Well, you ever see, every presidential campaign they evaluate, well, this guy is taller. All right. There are always going to be ways that people divide and judge each other differently.
There's no conversations anymore. There's no let's sit down, common sense.
No, everybody hates
It's just
everybody.
like, well, we need to do this. Well, no, hang on a second. Before we start tearing down statues, before we start, mistakes have been made, but that whole thing too. I mean, I don't want to really get into that rabbit hole on certain issues and things as such. But I go far as back as Ellis Island. So to come at me and tell me, say that it's your fault, you did this, you did. Well, hey, you know what? I wasn't here. My ancestors weren't here.
I wasn't here.
Yeah.
Matilda Lockhart wasn't here, who I'm gonna kind of go into some detail on. And here are some stories. These are real stories. These aren't stories that make you blame all Native Americans for what happened, any more than you blame all of us for what happened.
Right.
And this was an article that actually was in the Daily Mail a few years back by a guy named Jonathan Foreman. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I'm gonna go through it again. 262-694-1050. Do you think that Columbus Day should continue as a celebration of Italian American culture, uninterrupted and without guilt? Please call in and let us know. Here's the article. The 16-year-old girl's once beautiful face was grotesque. She had been disfigured beyond all recognition in the 18 months she had been held captive by the Comanche Indians. Now she was being offered back to the Texan authorities by Indian chiefs as part of a peace negotiation. To Gaspa's horror from watching crowds, the Indians presented her at the council house in the ranching town of San Antonio in 1840, the year that Queen Victoria married Prince Albert. Her head, arms, and face were full of bruises and sores, wrote one witness, Mary Maverick, and her nose was actually burnt off to the bone. Both nostrils were wide open and denuded of flesh. Once handed over, Matilda Lockhart broke down as she described the horrors she endured. The rape, the relentless sexual humiliation, and the way Comanche women had tortured her with fire. It wasn't just her nose. Her thin body was hideously scarred, all over with burns. When she mentioned she thought there were 15 other white captives at the Indians' camp, all of them being subjected to a similar fate, the Texan lawmakers and officials said they were detaining the Comanche chiefs while they rescued the others. I'm not going to go into the rest of the article. I did post this one also on my page. But that's an illustration of the fact that violence was just happening. That girl didn't do anything to deserve that.
No.
Just like a lot of these Native American children didn't do anything to deserve that.
Correct.
To say that we're going to deny a celebration of Christopher Columbus, Columbus Day, Columbus is discovering America, Italian-American heritage, because bad things happened, would mean that we would also have to say, well, we're going to deny any celebration of Native American history because they committed atrocities as well. And that's a ridiculous statement. And one that just shouldn't be made. And we have to stop worrying about who did what to whom, and instead start thinking about what lessons have we learned as a country that will make us stronger going forward, because all of the torturers and torturees are dead. We're left. We're left with each other. And if we don't start looking out for each other, taking care of each other, and figuring out how to make this a better country than it already is. And when I say it's the greatest country in the world, that doesn't mean there isn't room for improvement.
No.
There's a ton of room for improvement. What it means is that compared to anywhere else in the world, any other civilization in the world, we're doing a better job so far, because humanity has this element of evolving from animalism. It's taken us millions of years to turn into what we are now, and we're going to continue to evolve as a species. And America has done the best job of that so far of any culture. Will there be another culture that comes along that does a better job? I don't know. But I know that this is where we are now, and that we have great things we can do if we just stop. Stop. That's it. Just stop blaming, being angry, and trying to make things work. All right, we got to go to the bottom of the hour break here, so we're going to do that. And when we come back, we're going to take your calls, and then we are going to introduce our musical guests / panelists and discuss this further back after this break.
Overnight radio as we know it will never be the same. Tonight, midnight till 4 a.m. AM 1050 WLIP presents a brand new late night program. Welcome to Area 1051. Your host, Dr. Destruction, is back with topics, interviews, and discussions on all things paranormal. Live and local, Area 1051 on the Lip.
Are you looking for the hottest places to have a dinner date or the coolest places to grab a drink and appetizers with friends? Well, 262 Eats has it all. 262 Eats is a local food show that features the best the area has to offer. Watch Ralph Nudi as he samples the food, interviews the owners, and takes you inside and behind the scenes of the favorite places of locals and travelers alike. Be sure to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel to win prizes, gift certificates, and get special discount offers. That's 262 Eats.
My name is Dale Pazinski, and this is how I live United. I volunteer with United Way, helping the homeless in my community by teaching computer skills and helping them build a basic resume to save on their very own USB drive. It's huge when somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
The Carthage Redmen play football on AM 1050 WLIP.
Back corner of the end zone. Bazarek caught. Touchdown. Touchdown, Carthage College.
Carthage Redmen football on the Lip. Sponsored by
Something Different, a sports fan fantasy land. Downtown 6th Avenue. Wingstop, the Wing Experts. Speedway Plaza, Highway 50, Kenosha. Ficiano Insurance Agency.
You're invited out for an evening in 1920s Kenosha to help fight human trafficking. Friday, October 18th from 6 to 9:30 p.m. Enjoy a murder mystery dinner, Death of a Gangster, at Circa on 7th in Kenosha. Tickets are $65. 1920s dress is encouraged, and all proceeds from this event will benefit Fight to End Exploitation and law enforcement operations to recover human trafficking victims. For more information or to get your event on the community calendar, go to WLIP.com.
AM 1050 WLIP, Kenosha County Radar Weather. Sponsored by
Mason's Eatery and Pub. It's not too early to book your company's holiday party. Custom packages start at only $7.50 per person. Call or stop by Mason's Eatery and Pub for details.
Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 34. West winds around 10 miles per hour. Then tomorrow, Columbus Day is going to be sunny with a high near 51. Then Monday night, 30% chance of showers after midnight, then turning partly cloudy with a low around 40. Tuesday, showers likely before 1 p.m. and turning mostly cloudy with a high near 57. And Tuesday night, 20% chance of showers with a low of 39. This is your weather twice an hour or when severe weather strikes on AM 1050 WLIP.
Suckers walk, money talks, but it can't touch my 3-lock box.
And we're back in the air. A little more Sammy Hagar on his birthday. You're listening to Get Real with Ralph. Your host, Ralph Nudi, along with Jim Celovich here in the studios of AM 1050 WLIP in Pleasant Prairie. Of course, if you want to watch us live, you can go to our YouTube channel. That's getrealwithralph.com or facebook.com/Ralph Nudi. And we are talking about Columbus Day, 262-694-1050 if you want to weigh in on it. Right now, as we speak, the Columbus Day dinner is going on at the Italian-American Club, which has been a tradition there for many, many years. And their guest of honor this year is Daniel J. Travanti.
Oh, yeah.
Famed actor from Kenosha, Wisconsin, most well known for playing the part of Captain Frank Furillo on Hill Street Blues. God, I remember watching Hill Street Blues as well. I was a kid. You weren't. You were probably working here already.
I was in college.
Yeah, in college.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was a good show.
I was here. Yeah.
I was a big fan of Hill Street Blues. My I met him several times. My grandfather was very close friends with his brother Angelo, who had Angelo's barbershop.
Sure. Yeah, I know Angelo is. Yeah.
Not to sound like the WLIP historian and go into all the history of Angelo's barbershop. But Big Ange, as I called him as a kid, was at every family wedding.
I knew his cousins
and
family in north side of Kenosha, and then Travanti with a Y.
Yep.
With a Y.
Yep. Yep, they changed it to with a Y to escape persecution.
Hey, how about that?
Because people didn't treat Italian Americans very well. So when Daniel went out there to L.A. to start his acting career, it was an advantage to not have the Italian spelling to the name back then. And he was also an accomplished football player. Did you know that?
Yeah, he played very, very good ball.
He was
back in the day.
He was a really good football player.
Real good athlete.
And
great stage actor too, man. Lots about his TV stuff, but I tell you what. He's amazing on stage.
He prefers the stage.
Yes, he does.
He says that. He loves doing theatrical productions. Of course, he also played the part of John Walsh in the made-for-TV movie Adam, which was about the disappearance of
Adam Walsh.
Of Adam Walsh. And it is what actually fueled John Walsh to become famous doing, America's Most Wanted later on. So a lot of roles that Daniel played. Those are two of them that I can think of that made a difference. But I remember he'd come to town and visit the schools and talk about his career in acting. And I couldn't wait to get to the front of the line because I wanted to be an actor back then. And I knew that he knew my family and quite a guy. So he is the guest of honor this year at the Italian Americans Columbus Day dinner, which they have been doing for many years. I'm actually
just to talk about, because we're going to talk about a little bit of Kenosha too, is the Italian actors coming out of this town. Don Amici,
yes,
played Alexander Graham Bell. Great. Al Molinaro, God rest his soul. What a great man.
I got to play the part of Big Al in my junior high school production of Happy Days.
Did you really?
Oh yeah, I had to put stuffing in my shirt and everything else.
Yeah,
and,
Al, he came to Kenosha a lot.
He did.
I remember seeing him at the old Village Inn one time. He's listening, he's eating with family, and it was just he really loved Kenosha. I got a quick story about him because I got relatives in Los Angeles. Okay, so my old Serbian grandmother was with my cousin, and they're in this deli, and my cousin said, "Hey, Ma, that's Al Molinaro from Happy Days, yeah, he's from Kenosha," and my grandmother bellows out, "Hey, Kenosha boy!" she yells out.
I bet he looked.
Oh, he was so sweet to her. He came over and introduced himself. "Hi, how are you?" Things and such. So that's my story.
Yeah, and then of course we have who else do we have from Kenosha from back then? There were a couple. Holly Tomei. She wasn't.
That's right.
She wasn't nearly as
right.
as accomplished as Amici.
As known. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And of course, Don Amici's cousin, Alan the Horse Amici, who I've had the pleasure of speaking with his wife several times. Very nice lady.
I met him one time years ago.
His wife sat directly behind my grandfather in the now torn down Bain Elementary School.
Yeah.
And all these connections.
Jeff Cesario.
Funny guy.
Oh my God.
Funny guy.
Beautiful guy. We did. I gotta get a hold of him. We gotta do another show at the Roadie.
We
did a show together a couple of years ago.
That would be a ton of fun.
Yeah, I'll have to. I usually have lunch with him when I'm out there. But
and of course now everybody's all about Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo, right?
And the Hulk. Who would ever thought when he was doing all those chick flicks that he'd end up landing the role as the Hulk?
Being the Hulk, in the same year we had a Miss America too.
Yeah, we did. We had a Hulk and a Miss America.
The same year.
Now, my favorite role that Mark Ruffalo ever played that I've seen so far, and it's an obscure movie.
Okay.
It's called The Last Castle with Robert Redford.
Ooh, okay. That's a prison flick, right?
It is a prison flick. Yeah. James Gandolfini, Tony Soprano himself, plays the warden. And in the plot, the main character, Robert Redford's character, is a general who had been dishonored because he decided to go in and try and save some Americans when he was ordered not to, stripped of rank, sent to prison, and but he was one of the most decorated generals in history, and Gandolfini was jealous of him because this guy was so accomplished and he was the warden. And in the very beginning, there's something that you will notice that I would notice that a lot of people won't, and that is Gandolfini is taking an album out and putting on a turntable and getting ready to play this music right as the movie starts, and he's playing an album of Salieri.
Okay.
You know Salieri is? Salieri is the composer who was so jealous of Mozart, he killed him.
Oh, okay. Yes, okay.
Do you remember the movie Amadeus where they tells the story?
Yeah.
And so to me, I automatically realized there was this foreshadowing thing going on when he started spinning that Salieri record. And of course, I didn't even really know who Mark Ruffalo was, and he did such a fantastic acting job in that movie. And then probably my other favorite acting-wise is Foxcatcher, and I don't know if you've seen Foxcatcher.
Is that the wrestling one?
It is. It is about Dave Schultz. It's about the Schultz brothers and the murder that happened at the hands of John DuPont, who was really a deranged, sick guy.
Yeah.
And gosh, who's the guy from The Office that plays him? It's at the tip of my tongue. The main guy from The Office.
Oh, Steve Carell.
Steve Carell plays John DuPont, and he does such a chilling job of playing this part.
I'm telling you what, man.
That
it's these range of these actors are unbelievable.
Yeah, you always see their most popular roles, but those aren't necessarily their favorite roles.
Right.
And I could list actor after actor after actor where I've seen movies that nobody else has seen where they've done a far better job than their most popular movies. Billy Crystal's best movie, Mr. Saturday Night.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever heard of it unless you're a Billy Crystal freak, almost.
Right.
But what a great one. So we got some things going on in Kenosha in the upcoming weeks here.
You got a big show coming up, buddy.
We do.
Yeah, when the holidays come up. But first of all, we got Vagina Monologues. We had Scott and Kim.
We did.
Scott Holloway and Kim Emer here last week talking about the Vagina Monologues, and it opens up October 25th. So that should be a great show. It's only going for 2 weekends. But it's going to be a wonderful show, and definitely folks get out there and see it. And then, of course... You got your radio play.
We have
a play based on a radio play.
Miracle on 34th Street.
Miracle on 34th Street.
My daughter is playing. My daughter's playing Susan, the main character, in Miracle on 34th Street. It's going to be a great show, and it was the whole premise of Miracle on 34th. The way we're doing it is the Lux Theater did a radio play of the movie with the actors from the movie. When it was popular, because back then there wasn't television. It was either the silver screen or you listened to it on the radio. And so they all went to the Lux Theater, which was the premier place to do radio plays. And we're recreating that day that they went to the Lux Theater. So the roadie is being transformed into the radio studio with the big silver microphones and the the name of the radio station above, and we are playing the part of the actors coming into the radio studio and doing Miracle on 34th Street. So there's a sound table. It has the typewriter and the bells and the little coconut
sound
and the hammer you hit it with for the sound
effects.
effects.
Nice.
And we scramble from microphone to microphone playing the parts, and then scramble from microphone to microphone to sing all the commercials that are done with that tight barbershop style.
Oh, fantastic.
Harmony. So we have like the Tupperware song for the the Tupperware jingle, and we go, this show is brought to you by Tupperware. And we run over there and we do that part, and there's an announcer who also plays the piano, kind of keeps the whole thing moving along. And we've only been in rehearsals for a week.
Right.
And already I can see this is going to be a really fantastic cast. But my daughter was going to be the only child in the play. She got cast in it, so I knew that we'd have to have somebody there.
Sure.
So I auditioned for the part of Fred Gailey. That's the attorney that proves that this old man, Kris Kringle, really is in fact Santa Claus. Imagine that. And I got cast for that role, and my daughter got cast for the role of Susan, so now I get to play her mother's love interest in fictional life as well as in real life.
There you are.
Kind of a cool thing, and super looking forward to doing that. And every week we progress, we get a little bit better at it, I'm sure.
Yeah, sure.
But it's complicated, and it's the first time that I've actually performed a dramatic piece on stage in any way, shape, or form since probably the mid-1990s when I performed with a theater company in San Antonio called SALT, or San Antonio Little Theater. And I think the last show I did there was either South Pacific or A Little Night Music. Have you ever seen Sondheim's A Little Night Music?
Yes, I have actually. Yeah.
It's such a complex show, and when done right, it's amazing. And I actually understudied the part of Henrik at the time, which is funny because now I'd end up playing the part of probably the grandfather.
Right.
Such a wide variety from there. Now you have some shows coming up as well, right?
Absolutely. We're in rehearsals for Kringle the Musical.
Okay.
Part 2, West of the Eye Side Story. It's I don't know if anybody out there listening we have gone to 2 years ago we did a show. It's original. You say musical, I'm using air quotes, musical. We just parody songs and make up all this stuff. It's not about Kris Kringle whatsoever.
Of course.
It's not a Kris. It's about the actual...
It's about Danish Kringle?
Danish Kringle.
All right.
and I'll be singing and dancing and playing a variety of different roles. And we're from a Westedy Eye milkmaid to an Italian henchman, because you got the Kenosha cannolis.
Oh boy, I love that. The Kringle versus cannolis.
The cannolis, the great Kringle cannoli wars.
Who wrote this?
Rich Smith, who was the
local guy.
Yeah, Racine. He is the artistic director. But of course, we all pitch in as far as, because it's more of a sketch type of show than an actual play. It's a little bit different here and there, so we're able to move some things around a little bit. Whatever actor wants, because I played this role before, and I just would come out and do something different, but stay within what we're doing. Just add a little Jimmy into it.
Sure.
And then he will love it. Keep it. Let's do it. So this time around, I can basically within, all of us can within perimeters, kind of ad lib a little bit, add a line, change a line a different way. So that is so much fun. That's at the 6th Street Theater, and we're opening on November 15th. So it's going to be going for 3 weeks, 3 weekends, and if anyone has been to the 6th Street Theater, it's a little theater, folks. It's a little storefront. So it's very intimate, as we like to say, maybe 70 seats.
You know what I'd like to do? I would like to buy some tickets for both shows and start giving them away on this program over the next couple of weeks. So I will I'll get some of ours, and if you let me know how to get some of those as well, I'd like to buy a couple of 4-packs of tickets and give them away, because so many people are looking for stuff to do, date night, whatever it happens to be, and leaving town. And I've been guilty of that many times.
Right.
By the way, I am going out of town for date night this Saturday. Going to see Seeger.
Oh, nice. Good for you, man.
Yeah, Seeger at the United Center on the floor, 13 rows from the stage.
A short guy like you on the floor, buddy? Come on.
I'm only 13 rows back. I'll be able to see it.
Okay, all right. I hope the best for you, brother.
Take those old records off the shelf.
Being a short man myself, there's sometimes almost the worst seats to be is on the floor.
I saw Fleetwood Mac on the floor at Bradley Center. Not this tour that they're on now, but the tour before they refired Lindsey Buckingham, which I'm sorry, that's a mistake.
Yeah, it's just some really deep wounds in that band. So
there are, but that's what makes them so good.
But they got Mick Finn, is his name? Neil Finn from Crowded House
as their guitarist,
as guitarist, and also who's the other guy? Oh my God, he's great too. Oh, totally drawing a blank right now.
John McPhee?
No, John McPhee's part of it. Christine McPhee's going to be part of it.
Right. Mick Fleetwood's still playing drums.
Yeah,
Stevie's still touring with them.
I'm going to Google it right now because it's going to drive me nuts. It might come to me for Fleetwood Mac.
Hey, come on. This isn't happenings today. You can't just Google everything.
I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna go, oh my God, that's right. It is Mike Campbell from Tom Petty.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Mike Campbell's playing with. So that should be great.
It's
going to be great. I mean,
it is going to be good,
Lindsay's not, and when I saw them years ago, Lindsay wasn't with them either.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
I'm glad I got to see that lineup at least once.
The
lineup that really made them famous.
Right.
And, the whole Fleetwood Mac story, how they started off as an English blues band and then walked into that young fiery couple, which is what they were.
Yeah.
In and of itself, it's a miracle that that band ever even happened.
Oh my God!
It was just
the first album was amazing, and then that second album, Rumors, all besides the breakups. And
the only song I really hate in that whole era is Tusk.
Yeah, that was 1980. Yeah, that was their third album.
And I guess now it's kind of cool because USC plays it,
right?
But as a song to listen to on the radio or whatever, that
was a lot of Lindsay there. Because if you ever listen to some of Lindsay's solo stuff, it's a little bit different.
I would say Lindsay is probably one of the 5 most underrated rock guitarists of all time.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, he's right up there with Prince for being Prince is no longer underrated now that he's dead. But when Prince was alive, nobody really recognized Prince for what an amazing guitarist he was.
Hall of Fame thing he did.
Yeah.
Oh, just
they recognized him for being a singer and a dancer and everything else, but they never really gave credit.
And the true blue Prince fans. they kind of, musicians and things as such. Obviously, yeah, he was this unbelievable.
No one could play the guitar like Prince.
No.
Even they asked Eric Clapton what it's like to be the greatest guitarist in the world. He said, "I don't know, go ask Prince."
Yeah.
Which I thought was a really, really funny quote that's been attributed to Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
Speaking of musicians, we are going to have the Flannels in, which is one of the variations of Dan and Amy Christianelli. They have a couple of they got a couple of different bands. This was their cover band, so they're going to play some covers in here today. So we're excited to have them in after the top of the hour break. And before we go to it, I think we got a little time to talk about those Green Bay Packers because they're going to be playing tomorrow night.
We've got 2 minutes.
Well, that's enough time to talk about Lions and Packers,
Lions
and Bears. Oh my!
Oh my! It's going to happen tomorrow night, folks. And Cowboys lost again today.
They did.
They lost.
They did. So this is looking like a wide open NFC.
The Jets beat them.
I know.
The winless Jets.
The winless Jets.
They were 0-4.
Yeah, anytime a winless team beats the Cowboys, it tickles my insides.
Oh, it's just,
and
on Jerry Jones's birthday too.
Oh, happy birthday, Jerry! I don't really care. I hope he doesn't have too many more left in him. He's such a he's just such a grump.
Ill will on anyone, but
I don't mean it that way.
He's one I would.
I'll tell you what. If he sells the Cowboys, then I'll reevaluate.
I don't think that'll happen. That's why there's Thursday Night Football,
Because of Jerry Jones?
Because Jerry Jones.
Yeah, and I think football was better when it was Sunday and Monday night.
NFL Network.
Yeah.
It's all a bunch of old Cowboys as commentators.
It's all about the money now. It's not even about the game.
It's horrible.
Growing up, football was Sunday, and then you had that one special game a week that you.
But we're talking about the Packers.
We are talking about the Packers, and they are the special team featured on Monday night.
Yep.
And how do you think they're going to do against the Lions?
I think we're going to cream them.
All right, after the break, 262-694-1050 if you want to weigh on the Columbus Day thing. This is AM 1050 WLIP. You're listening to Get Real with Ralph.
Father, Son, the Holy Ghost, to the Trinity. Raise a toast. Oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3, lock box. 1, 2, 3, lock box. 1, 2, 3, lock box.
It's 9 o'clock. You're listening to AM 1050 WLIP Kenosha. Streaming live at WLIP.com. Now, CBS News.
This is CBS News on the Hour. Real news, real reporting.
I'm Sam Litzinger. Turkey's president is rejecting offers for mediation with Syrian Kurdish fighters as his military continues its offensive against them in northern Syria. Recep Tayyip Erdogan slammed Western allies for standing by the Kurdish militias and says Turkey won't negotiate with what he calls terrorists. The U.S. had partnered with the Kurds to fight ISIS, but the Kurds now say they've been abandoned, so they're working with President Assad's government to get troops to help counter the Turks. CBS News correspondent David Martin.
The Pentagon has drawn up plans to get out of Syria, get all U.S. troops out of northern Syria within 15 to 30 days, and it really depends on how much equipment they try to take with them.
Because of the Turkish attack, hundreds of ISIS supporters have escaped the camps where they were being held by the Kurds. Defense Secretary Mark Esper now says the Pentagon will cooperate with the congressional impeachment inquiry in an apparent break with President Trump's policy to block the probe. Democrats are seeking information related to Mr. Trump pressing his Ukrainian counterpart to uncover dirt on U.S. presidential contender Joe Biden and the alleged linking of military aid to that favor. A white police officer in Fort Worth, Texas, is on administrative leave after a deadly shooting. A black woman was killed inside her home when police were called to check out a report by a neighbor that her front door was open. Police Lieutenant Brandon O'Neill.
The released body camera footage shows the officers walk around to the back of the house. The officer observed a person through a rear window in the residence and fired a shot at that person.
The officer had fired through a screen window, saying he perceived a threat. An attorney for the family, though, disputes that. CBS News correspondent Rami Inocencio says troops have been deployed across eastern Japan to rescue people stranded in flooded homes as the death toll from a ferocious typhoon has climbed to at least 33.
Rescue efforts are now fully underway. Boats and helicopters have been dispatched to rescue people.
In other areas, crews are digging through dirt to reach homes covered by landslides, looking for people there.
One woman fell to her death from a helicopter during a rescue effort. Worsening dry conditions affecting Virginia have prompted the governor to put that state under a drought watch. It advises residents, local governments, and businesses to use less water and is meant to get people ready in case of a significant drought event. The most recent U.S. Drought Monitor report shows nearly 56 million residents are now living in drought conditions in parts of 16 southern states. This is CBS News.
Crime, punishment, redemption.
Even the most demented Hollywood writers would not have dreamed up an ending like this.
48 Hours, Saturdays on CBS.
There's nothing like meeting face-to-face, and there's nothing like Zoom to make that happen. Zoom lets you connect and do business across town or around the world. Zoom ties together all of your communication needs into one easy platform for video conferencing, phone calls, group chat, webinars, and your conference rooms. Connect easily from anywhere, your mobile phone, your laptop, or conference room. Zoom is how business gets done. Get your free account at Zoom.com today. Meet happy with Zoom.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. And we give you this toy monkey, which will bang its cymbals when the right resume appears. Okay, there is no monkey.
I said there is no monkey!
But skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Visit Indeed.com/promo today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
Money, 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 money.
Listen to WLIP and you can win cash. $1,000 a day, 5 days a week. Clicks for cash. Listen to The Lip Monday through Friday every hour following CBS News from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. We'll give you a keyword. Enter that keyword on a Clicks for Cash link at WLIP.com. Must be 18 or older to play. This is an Alpha Media Company-wide contest. Complete contest rules and details at WLIP.com. Clicks for Cash. Sponsored by Francetic Tax Resolution. Go to 262tax.com. Don't get frantic. Get Francetic. 1050 WLIP.
It's almost time for the homemade spaghetti dinner at Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church in Kenosha. Bring your appetite. Each meal costs $10 and includes homemade spaghetti with sauce, a meatball sausage salad, Italian bread, dessert, and coffee. Tickets are available for purchase at the door on the days of the dinner. The dinner at Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church is Friday, October 18th, 4 to 7 p.m., Saturday, October 19th, 4 to 7 p.m., and Sunday, October 20th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. For more information or to get your event on the community calendar, go to WLIP.com.
Warning. If you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For a free estimate on how much money we could save you, call 1-800-969-9532. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible, without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For your free 5-minute savings estimate, call now. 1-800-969-9532. That's 1-800-969-9532. 1-800-969-9532.
Hi, I'm Raymond Denon, Vice President of Optima Tax Relief. If you're in debt to the IRS, there's a lot you need to know. Starting with rule number 1, don't mess with the IRS. They can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts, even take your home or business. That's all true. But it's also true that there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative. It's one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, even tens of thousands. Nobody knows this program like us, the experts at Optima Tax Relief. We have an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau, and we've resolved over $500 million in tax debt for our clients. We'll stand between you and the IRS and fight to get you the best deal possible. Don't mess with the IRS. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima for a free consultation.
Call 800-608-0955. 800-608-0955. 800-608-0955.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
AM 1050 WLIP. Live and local. Happenings Q&A.
Frank and I are hosting a 4-day, 3-night motor coach trip to Cleveland, home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Christmas Story House, Jack Cleveland Casino, and so much more. It's an affordably priced getaway that promises to be tons of fun. We depart on November 15th, but space is limited, so sign up today. Call Kim at 262-564-8800.
AM 1050 WLIP Kenosha County Radar Weather. Sponsored by...
For the finest in men's fashions, it's clearly S.J. Crystals on 6th Avenue in beautiful downtown Kenosha. Follow S.J. Crystals on Facebook.
Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 34, west winds around 10 miles per hour. Then tomorrow, Columbus Day is going to be sunny with a high near 51. Then Monday night, 30% chance of showers after midnight, then turning partly cloudy with a low around 40. Tuesday, showers likely before 1 p.m. and turning mostly cloudy with a high near 57. And Tuesday night, 20% chance of showers with a low of 39. This is your weather twice an hour or when severe weather strikes on AM 1050 WLIP.
And we're back here in the studios at AM 1050 WLIP. Hey guys, it's Sammy Hagar's birthday, so we're using Sammy for bumper music in and out. I have in the studio with me the Flannels, and that is Amy Crucinelli and Dan, right? Fred Johnson. Fred Johnson, not Don Johnson, not Dan Johnson, Fred Johnson. And of course we got Danny Crucinelli here doing some backups.
Don Johnson?
Don
What
Johnson.
decade are you in?
Well, I mean, you want to play some Jan Hammer, and we'll get down to it. I'll get the gold chains out and unbutton my shirt.
Sonny?
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. Sonny. Right. You want to be Tubbs?
Say just because he's a man of color, he's Tubbs? Is that what you're saying?
He's the only one. Yeah, he's the only one that fits the stereotype. I mean, what are we going to do? All right. So we got the Flannels in here, and they're going to be jamming out some music. And so you guys, this band that you're in, and I know you guys play a couple of this is your cover band that you do, correct? You got to get really, really close to that mic in order to talk.
Yes,
so,
yes.
hey, like
Yeah,
even closer.
let's
you got to almost
let's
make
bring it
out
down
with
to
it.
to your face.
Pretend it's a chick and you're making out with it.
But don't do it.
But just don't. No tongue though. Okay. So tell us about the Flannels.
Yeah, I mean it's our cover band. We play mostly like '90s, like early '90s grunge alternative kind of stuff. I've been doing it for a couple of years. I mean, I don't really know quite what else to say about it, but
that's really all there is.
All right. Well, you're gonna throw us a couple of covers today, right?
Sure are.
All right. What are we starting with?
All right. The first one we're gonna play is a Pearl Jam song called "Elderly Woman Behind the Counter."
Oh, I love that song.
Town.
I do too. You know, when you play covers, it's a lot harder because people have something to compare it to. But this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see. Yeah.
All right. Let her rip, ladies and gentlemen. The Flannel. Sound like the Flannel.
Singular.
Yeah, the Flannels.
All right. I seem, oh Jesus.
Oh,
all right.
All right. Here we go.
Take two.
I seem to recognize your face, haunting, familiar. I can't seem to place it. Can I find the candle of thoughts to light your name? Lifetimes catching up with me. All these changes taking place. I wish I'd seen the place no one's ever taken me. Hearts and thoughts, they fade away. Hearts and thoughts, they fade away. I swear I recognize your breath. Memories like fingerprints are slowly erasing me. You wouldn't recall, for I'm not my former. It's hard when you're stuck upon the shelf. I change by not changing at all. Small time predicts my fate. Perhaps it's what no one wants to see. I just wanna scream, hello. Oh my God, it's been so long. Never dreamed you'd return, but now here you are, and here I am. Hearts and thoughts, they fade away. 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 Hearts and thoughts, they fade away.
All right. Got
Right
the
on.
battle axe going in there.
Fantastic. That's one of my favorites.
It is.
You know, and I used to say, you know, people say, hey, Jimmy, you haven't changed a bit. And I always say, what's the line? I change by not changing at all. I just love that line.
It is really, it's classic. It's what
absolutely.
happens. Life changes around you, so I
don't change.
Your change is relative.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it. Boy, we're getting deep here now, aren't we?
We're getting deep.
It's funny that he's such a great lyric writer, and half the time you can't understand him.
Yeah, that is the irony. Is you have a dude that writes really good lyrics, and you don't know a word he said because it sounds like he's got a mouthful of mush. But yeah,
Let's take we're gonna take a quick break.
Yep. We're gonna go to the quick break, and we'll be back right after.
Hey guys, my name is Karen, and I wanted to tell you a story about my boyfriend Mike. He's a great guy, super fun. He is the best in so many ways, except for our life in the bedroom. The last several months, he lost his ability to perform and also lost his confidence. It changed him, and he became miserable, and he was about to lose me. So get this, he hears an ad about this powerful male enhancement product called Noxitril. It's all natural, no stuffy nose, no headaches, no side effects. He tries it, and all I can say is, wow, incredible. I told him this feels like Viagra on steroids. Boy, was I glad I stuck around. With Noxitril, Mike is now my Energizer Bunny. He keeps going and going. Problem solved. Thanks, Noxitril. And Noxitril has this free bottle offer, so now there's no excuse for every guy to have it. And keep going and going.
To find out how to get a free bottle of Noxitril, call 800-217-1579. 800-217-1579. Free bottles for a limited time, so call now. 800-217-1579. 800-217-1579.
Hey, are you looking for a home in southeastern Wisconsin? Well, if you're looking to buy or sell a property, go to our website, 262kenoshahomes.com, where you can find out the value of any property in southeastern Wisconsin, as well as search for just about any type of property you're looking for. And then if you need some professional help, in real estate that is, call 262-656-7171 and talk to Ben or Ralph at the Success Team, and we will hook you up with one of our fine agents to help you find what it is you're looking for. That's 262kenoshahomes.com.
Are you looking for the hottest places to have a dinner date or the coolest places to grab a drink and appetizers with friends? Well, 262 Eats has it all. 262 Eats is a local food show that features the best the area has to offer. Watch Ralph Nudi as he samples the food, interviews the owners, and takes you inside and behind the scenes of the favorite places of locals and travelers alike. Be sure to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel to win prizes, gift certificates, and get special discount offers. That's 262 Eats.
And we're back here in the studios of AM 1050 WLIP Kenosha. You're listening to Get Real with Ralph. There are multiple ways you can tune in. If you're in the listening area and want to listen to us on the radio and you still have an AM radio, that's AM 1050 WLIP. You can watch us live on our YouTube channel at getrealwithralph.com. You can tune into us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/Ralph Nudi. Or you can use the iHeartRadio app or WLIP.com. So lots of ways to tune in. And after the fact, anywhere where you listen to a podcast, if you just look for Get Real with Ralph, we have almost 30 episodes out there now. So it's going strong. And Jim and I were just talking during the beginning of the first segment. We're almost 6 months into this already.
Holy cow.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
It sure is.
And so I know, not feeling like such a rookie anymore. First time I did this, I just remember my blood pressure.
He was a mess.
Oh,
he was an absolute mess.
My stomach was in my throat.
I had to throw a bucket of cold water at him.
He missed, thank God. So we have in with us the Flannels. That's what the Z. Flannels. That's right. And they are a group of musicians that all play in other bands, and this is their little cover band variation of what they do. And it looks like today they're being grunge happy. So which is like kind of an oxymoron, grunge and happy. But
I got a question. What's your process of picking the songs? I mean, so many great songs from that era.
Well, usually
you can step up to the microphone, Danny.
We pick a few, we yell at each other for a little while until we decide on one, and then we learn a totally different one.
Okay, that sounds good.
That is a great process.
Is that true, Ron? Ron, is that true? Is that his name, John? What's your name?
Fred.
Fred.
Yeah.
Fred.
Fred, is that true, Fred?
That's pretty close, yeah.
Amy, would you say yes?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Amy's just fighting to get a Foo Fighter song in there, I'm sure.
Oh, there's plenty.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, that's what we're going to do next.
How could I have possibly guessed that?
You're psycho.
I haven't spent any time around you at all, Amy Crucianelli, have I?
Yeah.
Amy was very instrumental in helping us organize and put together our first Songs of Freedom Music Festival, which was it was a success. We were able to raise just about $5,000 for Operation Underground Railroad.
That's pretty incredible for a first round.
For a first round, and for the weather and the fact that our attendance was a lot lower than we had anticipated, that was a really good number.
6 weeks of planning is like really kind of unheard of for an event that size.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know anybody else as crazy as I am to pull off 6 weeks of planning, and then as crazy as you to go, okay, Ralph, I'll help you with that. Yeah. But, you have my undying appreciation for doing that. That's for darn sure.
I enjoyed every minute of it.
And we're looking forward to next year, and we'll have dates by probably the end of next week. I'm bouncing a couple of dates around, so this should be fun. But now that we've organized as a separate nonprofit, we can go and just go all out on it. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it should be good.
So what Foo Fighters song are you going to throw at us?
We're going to do Big Me.
Big Me. So you're not going to do a cover of a cover by doing Baker Street?
The little cover band, as you call them, are going to sing Big Me.
Little cover band playing Big Me. Here we go. It's the Flannels, which obviously the play on words because everybody wore flannel during the grind. That took me a while to figure out. All of a sudden I'm like thinking aloud here on radio and people are realizing, everybody else probably realized it before me and I'm the host of the show. Boy, that's pretty... Whew. Anyway, the Flannels.
It was the spelling that threw you off.
It was the capital Z that I thought Amy put on that. Apparently, it was a typo. So when you see me put the Flannels on my Facebook with the capital Z, that's just me following Amy's lead with her texting abilities. There,
yeah, it works.
You got fat thumbs, apparently.
I do.
All right,
welcome to the show, Ralph.
Terrible.
Thank you. I'm late to the party, but let's go. It's the Flannels.
When I talk about it, carries on, reasons only new. When I talk about it, Aries or treason's all renew. Beg me to talk about it, I could stand to prove. If we can get around it, I know that it's true. When I talk about it, carries on, reasons only new. But it's you I fell into. When I talk about it, carries carries on, reasons only new. When I talk about it, Aries or treason's all renew. Beg me to talk about it, I know that's true. If we get around it, I know that's true. Well, I talked about it, put it on, never was it true. But it's you I fell into. Well, I talked about it, carries on, never was it true. But it's you I fell into. I fell into. I fell
I want a Mentos now. I don't know. I need me a Mentos.
You don't mean a Futos?
That's right, Futos. That's what it was, a Futos.
Another thing that we want to bring up really quick is the Flannels are going to be playing at Friday Ween, which is an annual event at the Brat Stop. It takes place the last Friday of every October of every year. This year, that's October 25th. I'm one of the stage managers. Matt Myers, another stage manager. Cole Ford.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember the other guy's name right now.
Uh-oh.
Terrible. Anyways, 5 stages. There's like 50 bands. It's going to be a great time.
That's always fun.
How many?
Like 50. There's
Like
5 stages.
there's 5 stages.
Wait.
I thought you said 5. I heard 5 and 50. I was
It might be closer to 40, actually. 'Cause there's
blown
like
away.
four stages.
Well, it's like Swimfest he does every year too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
only
yeah.
Instead of Friday and Saturday, it's just Friday.
Just one night.
Yeah, there's a costume contest. Lots of vendors. Actually, I'm going to be set up as a vendor for both my cleaning company, Coming Up Roses, and split that with the real estate stuff.
Sure. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Heck
And that
yeah,
is
man.
Friday Ween, and that is, again, repeat the location.
At the Brat Stop.
The Brat Stop.
Brat Stop.
October 25th. You can buy tickets from any of the bands that are playing at the event.
Do you have a list of bands on your site or anything, or?
We're updating it day by day, like we're announcing it slowly.
Gotcha.
But all of those bands, you can get the tickets for $10. Otherwise, it's $15 at the door. So save $5. Buy from the bands. That way, the bands are making the money as well.
Cool.
That is how they get paid, is with their ticket sales. So
Gotcha.
What time does that start?
starts at 8 p.m.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess they do have 5 stages, don't they?
Yeah. Beer Garden, Bristol Room. No, it's 4 stages. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't do the Wisconsin Room anymore. Now that's just straight vendor. There's probably 50 vendors that are there selling various kinds of goods.
Now, the Wisconsin Room, that's right off the main room, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the in between.
Yeah, that's a good place to put all the vendors in there.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Absolutely.
vendors in kind of in almost every area, but that's the best room for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
October 25th. So you guys played last night.
Yep.
I know we talked a little bit about it off mic, and Danny doesn't really remember too much about last night.
Well,
Danny, I don't know, man. I mean, you know.
I have a very vivid memory.
Okay.
Of
Well,
last night.
yeah.
Well, tell us about it.
It was a good time.
Okay.
And Danny decided to make too much noise and be obnoxious until super early in the morning.
Danny doesn't do that.
I was playing guitar.
He was.
Okay.
I don't remember that.
You're playing guitar.
Melting faces.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah,
going over songs to play for the night.
Hey, you can
3 o'clock in the morning.
you can improvise and play guitar anytime, man. That's cool.
I had
That's
to get up early.
I'm trying to goad him into it now. Like, you can play guitar anytime, Dan.
Danny.
I'm just gonna
Danny.
strum her back up tonight.
Well, yeah, but you know, that's the cool thing about Get Reels. We just play it as we go along.
There's no script.
Let's brush up on your. Let's see who knows their musicians, and seeing as how it's Sammy Hagar's birthday, we're gonna do some Sammy Hagar trivia here. What was the 1970s heavy metal band that Sammy got his start in? Heavy metal. Sammy Hagar and heavy metal. It doesn't even sound right.
It was in that movie.
You ever heard the song Heavy Metal?
I forgot what band he started in.
It was that one band with musicians in it.
Oh, yeah, good one.
The one band with the musicians in it.
I think they had big food.
And by the way, if you're at home and you're listening, you want to call in and you have an answer, that's fine too. 262-694-1050. We're still waiting to see if anybody wants to weigh in on Columbus.
That band, we heard a little bit of the music from tonight.
We did.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember which one now. All right. Any guesses? Anybody? We got musicians here.
It's a one-name band.
One-name band. It's also the name of a highway in Chicago.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Starts with an M.
It's a one-name band named after the founder of the band.
There we go. The founder was a guitarist, and his first name was Ronnie. Getting any closer yet? It's before all their times, too. Montrose.
Oh,
I
would have never guessed.
Yeah,
all right.
No.
Sammy's father was technically a professional athlete.
Yes, he was.
What sport?
Soccer.
Soccer. Nope. It was a little more hard-hitting than soccer.
Boxing.
There we go. All right. Yeah, I
Good
made that
job.
one pretty easy. All right. His backing band was comprised mainly of the musicians from the band Montrose. But when they went to the Sammy Hagar band, who did they add as their guitarist? This is...
Didn't know I was supposed to brush up on my Sammy Hagar.
well, I mean, it's the Red Rocker's birthday.
It's
I mean,
a pop quiz.
Yeah, it's just a pop quiz.
It's also National M&M Day.
All right. What town in Mexico did Sammy Hagar move to after he left Van
Cabo
Halen?
Wabo.
Cabo Wabo.
Well, it's the real name of the town, though.
Oh, tequila?
Cabo
San
San
Lucas.
Lucas. Ding, 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 ding. And I'll bet you know the name of his tequila, too, then, don't you?
That's Cabo Wabo.
There we go.
That's right.
It's a
That's the
sleepy
only reason
town
why I-
south of the border. You go there once, you've been there twice. That's probably one of my favorite Sammy Hagar lyrics. All right.
Let's do another one.
Let's do another one. Where do you go to high school?
Trick question, you didn't?
Same place.
I know. I know.
Same place that Johnny Cash shot a man.
Oh, are you
Reno?
sure? Are you sure?
Reno.
He shot a man in Reno.
Just
That's
watch
right.
Went to school in Reno?
He went to high school in Reno High in Reno, Nevada.
Oh, okay. I know he lived in Salinas.
Trick question.
He also
Then
considers
Fontana.
himself a gourmet chef and has cooked for celebrity chefs such as Emeril Lagasse and Mario Bataille. Can you believe that?
What month and day was Sammy born? Anyone?
October
13th.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. A little more Sammy Hagar as we go into the bottom of the hour break here. And when we come back, we'll fill you in on some of the ups and comings in the local 262 area.
So what am I doing?
Don't we have a bottom of the hour break?
Yes, we do.
Oh, that's what I was
Let's
saying.
go.
I was trying to lead us into it.
Oh.
See? I was trying to make it easy on you. Sometimes when I try to make things easy on Jim, I complicate things further.
It doesn't take much.
Lenny Palmer Show, weekday mornings 8 till noon.
What's coming down the pike on Monday? Well, whatever comes down the pike on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, obviously, there's always something local that will at least pique our interest. We'll, of course, be talking about Donald Trump and impeachment. That's taking all the air out of the room. Maybe some Foxconn news. Whatever comes down the pike, we're on it because we're live and we're local. 8 till noon, be there.
This is Kenosha's radio station, AM 1050 WLIP.
Are you looking for the hottest places to have a dinner date or the coolest places to grab a drink and appetizers with friends? Well, 262 Eats has it all. 262 Eats is a local food show that features the best the area has to offer. Watch Ralph Nudi as he samples the food, interviews the owners, and takes you inside and behind the scenes of the favorite places of locals and travelers alike. Be sure to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel to win prizes, gift certificates, and get special discount offers. That's 262 Eats.
I'm more resourceful than I thought.
My suit can still make an impression.
My video games are still game changers.
And my lamp can bring others a bright future.
Because when I donate my stuff to Goodwill,
it helps fund job placement and training for people right in my community.
Now my stuff gets a second chance.
And will give someone in my community
a second chance too.
Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. That's goodwill.org. This message brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
AM 1050 WLIP. Live and local. Happenings Q&A.
Frank and I are hosting a 4-day, 3-night motor coach trip to Cleveland, home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Christmas Story House, Jack Cleveland Casino, and so much more. It's an affordably priced getaway that promises to be tons of fun. We depart on November 15th, but space is limited, so sign up today. Call Kim at 262-564-8800.
Connect to this radio station from all across the country. Tickets to the gym, shopping. How about a road trip? Listen to us now on the free iHeartRadio app. You'll never miss a moment with your favorite radio station. Download the free iHeartRadio app and search for this station so we can go wherever you want us to.
Now that was a way to wrap up a week on the money wheel. Rick from Antioch got it done. $16.50 in his pocket. So when we spin it on Monday morning, a brand new jackpot, $10.50. Looking for back-to-back winners. Thanks to A.B. Schmidt's Insurance, something different. Summer's Garden Florist and Gifts, Library Park Dental, and Building Waters. Hey, back-to-back winners, it could be you, but you got to pick up the phone. Next time we spin the money wheel, Monday morning, wake up, Kenosha.
AM 1050 WLIP.
It's almost time for the homemade spaghetti dinner at Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church in Kenosha. Bring your appetite. Each meal costs $10 and includes homemade spaghetti with sauce, a meatball, sausage, salad, Italian bread, desserts, and coffee. Tickets are available for purchase at the door on the days of the dinner. The dinner at Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church is Friday, October 18th, 4 to 7 p.m., Saturday, October 19th, 4 to 7 p.m., and Sunday, October 20th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. For more information or to get your event on the community calendar, go to WLIP.com.
AM 1050 WLIP Kenosha County Radar Weather. Sponsored by
Mason's Eatery and Pub, Highway 50 just west of Green Bay Road, Kenosha. With happy hour, weekdays 2 to 5. Buy one, get one on draft beer, cocktails, and wine.
Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 34, west winds around 10 miles per hour. Then tomorrow, Columbus Day is going to be sunny with a high near 51. Then Monday night, 30% chance of showers after midnight, then turning partly cloudy with a low around 40. Tuesday, showers likely before 1 p.m. and turning mostly cloudy with a high near 57. And Tuesday night, 20% chance of showers with a low of 39. This is your weather twice an hour or when severe weather strikes on AM 1050 WLIP.
And we're hot now, aren't we? Are we hot?
We're hot, baby.
Keep it playing, though. Keep it playing. We're hot with a little Sammy Hagar here.
Montrose.
Little Montrose. God, they were... Amazing. I can't believe they called them heavy metal. This was just rock and roll to me. I forgot about this song. Don't you love when you rediscover something you forgot about for like 20 years?
They did the Tribute Island this past summer, and they had this Montrose cover band.
They did?
Amazing. Not as, nobody can sing like Sammy.
Right.
But the guy did a pretty good job, and he had a really good guitarist in there as well. You know what? We've got a phone call.
Oh, we do. We do. Well, let's... All right. Let me know when I'm hot. You're on Get Real with Ralph. Who am I talking to?
Hello?
Name in town. Who am I talking to? You're on Get Real with Ralph. Oh, kick him loose. It's a bad call. Let's listen to more Sammy. Hey, if you called on purpose, call again. If you butt dialed me, butt out.
Nice.
I always wanted to do a show where we just nowadays on YouTube, people watch people play Minecraft. Why not just have a whole show where you just listen to us listen to some vinyl and talk about it?
Oh, my God. I'd love that.
I could do that all night. Does the radio station even have any vinyl in it anymore?
I got some turntables over here.
This doesn't suck. Testes. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah, everybody. Happy birthday, Sammy Hagar. Sammy Hagar, 72 years old today.
You know what? I am buying you a shot of Cabo tonight.
Oh, I'm not drinking it.
Oh, come on. Well, then I'll buy it for you, and then I'll drink it for you.
I got school in the morning.
You're still coming out with me for a shot of Cabo.
No, I'm not.
Come on, Sammy's birthday! It's too bad everybody's listening on AM radio doesn't get to hear that in full stereo.
I'm telling you what.
Oh, that just makes me wish I had an FM
If
show.
that doesn't melt your face.
It does,
Oh,
in
my
every
God.
good way possible. And just
Ooh.
reminds me of a better time.
I tell you what, with Sammy, he just reaches so many decades of music. So many different bands, and everything is awesome.
You know, I named my second son Sam. I don't think I necessarily named him after Sammy Hagar, but we called him Sammy. And I'd always think about, I would call him Sammy Hagar kind of as a funny nickname, especially because he was a colicky baby and he'd scream and scream and scream and scream and scream. And I just called him Sammy Hagar. That was my nickname for him because he had a set of lungs on him.
Does he have red hair?
No.
Is he a red rocker?
No, he's not.
Well, he didn't have red hair anyways. They call him a red rocker because he always wore red.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was because of his hair color. I mean, I thought he had strawberry blonde hair, and it was just kind of.
And
a
you
thing.
know he is Italian.
I did know that. Yeah. All the great ones are. You ever notice that? You know, the funny thing about this one is how many people don't even realize because they were born after the national speed limit went away.
Yeah.
55 miles an hour. But I remember that being a thing as a kid going on vacation. Can you imagine being in a Woody, in the wood-sided Jeep Wagoneer, driving all the way down to Florida, and your dad has to only drive 55? That was a long drive.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, it's a long drive as it is, and I go about 85 going down there with my kids. I can't even imagine having to go 50. I tell you what, I would have went on strike. There's no way to drove my kids on vacation. That's like an extra 5 hours that added to the drive.
Yeah, if you're driving 55, you're driving way too slow nowadays on the freeway or on the highways.
Yeah. You know, the freeways around here are really, I cannot believe the mess they've made. I feel like it's the big dig outside of Kenosha lately.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't drive 55 there either because you can't get up to 55 with all the traffic.
Right.
It's just a mess. And then to think that they don't even bother to put trucks right lane only or something. You know, people are dying at 45 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm. I'm playing this off YouTube too. You know, I'm just watching the video, which is
you're cheating over there.
Absolutely 80s, man. It was. And Sammy's so young looking in this one too. Well, he had to be close to 40.
Yeah, and looking back, I had no idea he was that old. I thought he was just some cool dude about 10 years older than me. When you told me today he was 73, I could not believe that.
It's kind of crazy, man. 72 years old today. That's Sammy, though, man. I mean, you know, they always ask him when he became, you know, when Van Halen came calling, and he was asked, how does it feel like to be a rock star in the biggest band? And he goes, dude, I'm already a rock star. I've been selling out stadiums already, all right, man?
Just before
before you get a little too carried away.
He didn't pull any punches.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Like, I'm already a rock star, man.
And like I said at the beginning of the top segment, when they came out, both guns blasting with 5150.
Yeah.
They changed the entire direction of not only Van Halen, but I would say rock music right then and there.
You know, there was something about that album. I remember that because I was in spring break, 1986, Daytona Beach, and watching MTV. All of a sudden, or listening to radio, and then Why Can't This Be Love came on. Oh man, I'm getting chills right now. I'm gonna play it.
We got to. I mean, that album there was. If you turned 16 that year, then you knew that. I turned 16 when that came out, and I remember driving around town to summer nights with my cousin.
Here it is.
With the top down. Oh, there it is too.
Oh, just amazing. Yeah,
it's the lip sync special edition of Get Real with
I'm
Ralph.
telling you, when I heard this song for the first time,
so tell me why
it was just amazing. And you got the hardcore Van Halen fans.
Not to take away from all of the amazing things they did with Diamond Dave. To me, they're just two different bands that had three of the same members.
Yeah.
They really were. And, of course, then they went through that horrendous Gary Sharon era. And then after Gary, there was another guy that was almost a Van Halen member and quit. I can't remember, but I read a story about that.
There's a lot of talk of who was going to be the next lead singer of Van Halen when Dave left.
Right.
I know Patti Smythe's name came up.
It did.
Yeah. From Warrior, or just saying the war. I am the war from Scandal.
Yeah, and that would have been interesting too.
That would have been very interesting. But
nowhere near as interesting.
It would not
as
have been called Van Halen, and how would you sing those songs too? But
yeah, and they didn't do a lot of Sammy Hagar songs when they toured with Van Halen. They would do maybe like 2 or 3, because I remember going to see them of the Sammy songs, and they do
with Dave.
No, when Van Halen toured with Sammy, they'd only do 2 or 3 of the Sammy solo songs.
The Sammys, right?
Like I Can't Drive 55, whatever. And then they would do maybe 2 or 3 David Lee Roth songs at the most. Almost everything they did was the new material that they did together, and they filled an entire 2-hour concert.
Sure.
Maybe the 5150 tour they had to do a little more, but by the time they got to OU812 or For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. Oh, that's my favorite album title ever. It's the only way you get to say the F word on the radio, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. By the time they got to that, they had so much material and so much of a following of the new stuff that they just kind of abandoned all of the old music. So it was nice to see them kind of pull David Lee Roth back into the fold until I heard them perform on The Tonight Show and realized they were just terrible now.
There's one song, you mentioned OU812.
Yep.
That I really liked.
And it's not going to be When It's Love. I'm sure it's going to be something that's more obscure. Finish what you started.
Now, when this song came out...
So bluesy.
I think it's probably one of the finest ones they had.
Whoa!
Come on, baby.
Please. We've all been there. Please, baby. Just finish what you started.
I never begged.
I'm married. I still beg.
It's because you're married. This song here was just absolutely crazy. I can hear Dave singing this song though.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
With his different style. If you want to see other guys, I can totally see Dave doing it. And a different kind of cockiness with his big long hair.
Oh sure. Yeah.
Something about Sean Penn and David Lee Roth are permanently interlinked in my mind because of the character Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And in the end, they talk about how Spicoli blew the money he won by hiring Van Halen to play his birthday party. Do you remember that?
Who did he save? He saved, was it Brooke Shields from drowning? Or
yeah, I think that's who it was.
Something like that. And he spent the reward money having Van Halen play his play a party.
All of a sudden, this big wave came up, and I was like, hey, bud, what's your problem? No, hey, bud, let's party. That's what it was.
Hey, bud. Classic.
That was probably Sean Penn's smartest moment.
You know.
That ain't saying much.
Well.
That was before he went to communist countries all over the world and rubbed elbows with communist dictators and started lecturing America about how much better those countries were. That's when I lost all respect for Sean Penn.
Not his humanity runs were helping people in Haiti, or people who were earthquake victims, always first on the scene doing things.
Right.
New Orleans.
He was there?
Oh yeah.
Well, all right. So he redeemed
yin and
himself
yang.
back.
I mean, hey, people,
His greatest acting performance though, Mystic River.
Oh yeah.
When he starts screaming, "Is
when
that
he's at
my daughter?"
Oh my God, dude!
You're on it. Is that my daughter? And he like falls to his. That's probably.
Yeah.
That really is.
I listened to an interview
the
with him
climax
about
of his
that,
acting career.
and he gives everything he does in every role he does.
He does.
He is.
So what if he's a kook?
Well, they're all kooks. They're all kooks, man. I mean,
it's Hollywood.
We had.
Think about this. You become wealthy and famous and in a bubble where you've become wealthy and famous because of how eccentric you are. And so therefore you become more eccentric. It's like a snowball rolling downhill. And then it finally hits the bottom and breaks into a million pieces. Speaking of which, this is a really, really awful segue. I don't even mean to make it the segue, but I was at the Fireside Theater in Fort Atkinson this week.
You were?
Let's
bring him down here.
We saw the Buddy Holly story.
Okay.
The name of the play is Buddy.
Okay.
And if you want a night out, that's not too far away. It's an hour and a half. Don't get me wrong.
Fort Atkinson.
Yeah, Fort Atkinson. Have you ever been there? They have the theater in the round.
You know what? Being a theater guy and everything, I've never been there.
So it is one of the coolest theater in the round. Have you ever been to the Marriott Lincolnshire?
No.
Oh, wow.
I know, dude. I'm not. From a person who's been in a lot of plays and done a lot of stage work.
I thought you got out a lot, man.
I haven't been. I don't go to a lot of plays.
Well, it's a theater in the round, but it's a very tight round theater where you have all four sides have a really good view of this little square stage, and it has a round carousel that drops down so they can load the props onto it, and it pops back up. And they told the entire Buddy Holly story from the time he was in a band with his two friends on a little local station in Texas where he was getting in trouble for not playing country, all the way to the day the music died.
Wow.
It goes all the way to that final concert. So they have a guy that plays Richie Valens. They have a guy that plays the Big Bopper. And I was probably, besides my business partner, Ben, who's 10 years younger than me, I was probably the youngest guy in the room. I will say that.
Okay.
But it was a really good show. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I saw some people that were in their 70s just mesmerized watching Buddy Holly, and I imagine this kid really kind of captured the essence of Buddy Holly, because I looked down and I saw that. I mean, I loved it, but I saw they were completely captivated. And I suppose if you grew up in that era and now you get to hear your music and see a guy kind of play it out, it was really good. But they did the entire story. There's a lot I did not know about Buddy Holly. Did you know that he was the first white person to play the Apollo?
I think I heard that somewhere.
Did you know that, Ray? And because it was Buddy Holly and the Crickets, the people that ran the Apollo just assumed that they were black. So they show up and they're getting like thrown out of there. Hey, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? And he said, we're the Crickets. And they're like, you're the Crickets? Bah! They all start laughing and like ripping on them. And then they're like, no, really, we're the Crickets. And then Buddy Holly walks in. And he says, I'm Buddy Holly. And they start laughing. And then they find out he really is Buddy Holly. I'm like, oh, no, you can't go out there.
They'll kill you.
They're going to kill you. And so his bandmates start getting all freaked out about it. And he goes out there and he knocks them dead. Just completely.
Was that in the movie? I had to watch a Buddy Holly story.
I have not watched that in probably 20 years.
Yeah.
But I imagine that the musical is very similar to the movie. But all the racism that he encountered when he married his wife because she was Mexican American, and that was even his own family gave him a hard time about that, and his bandmates. And I guess I just didn't realize, because you just hear the music, how much he went up against just to rock the boat by playing rock and roll.
Yeah.
Even.
Yeah.
And
it's quite the story. And I mean, and it was the day the music died. I think it was an end of an era of rock and roll.
Oh, those are three. Those are three of the biggest names.
Exactly at the time.
At the time, in
right.
in music.
I mean, besides Everly Brothers and some other band, Elvis, obviously, things as such. But after that plane crash, Elvis goes into the service.
Right.
A lot of things, and then all of a sudden you got Frankie Avalon coming out, and you got Fabian, and you got all this bubblegum type of Paul Anka and all this type of stuff, kind of calm things down a little bit, on the charts and popular music, until the British invasion, basically.
Which, speaking of the British invasion, I'm not sure if you told me about this or not, but I watched the movie yesterday.
Oh,
last night,
you didn't tell me.
Which is about this British, this Indian Brit who is trying to make it as a songwriter, and he can't write a tune to save his life that people like, and all of a sudden all the power goes out in the entire world. He gets hit by a bus, wakes up, and the world had never heard of the Beatles.
Oh my God.
And he's struggling to remember the songs so he can write them and introduce them to the world. And he writes all the Beatles songs from memory within a 1 or 2 year span.
Don't say too much now.
No, that's the premise.
That's the premise.
And so it is this guy who gets famous by writing Beatles songs.
Nice.
And it's called Yesterday. And it's a new... It's off the theaters, and it's a new release on Amazon. You have to rent it if you're going to watch it on Amazon. It's out on DVD. But definitely was worth... I love music documentaries. I love music biographies. This was music fiction.
Sure.
But it was all just the stuff that I love.
I'm definitely going to watch it.
And just really, really funny. I mean, imagine taking all the Beatles music and somehow turning it into a weird romantic comedy that guys like too.
Right.
It's like, as Butthead would say, there's something in it for everyone.
That's awesome.
My wife liked it. It was a chick flick for her. I liked it. It was like a Beatles flick for me. So, yeah, good stuff.
I have to watch that. Speaking of shows, not to get off the music course, but were you a big fan of Breaking Bad when it was on?
Loved it. And there's a new Breaking Bad movie.
Have you seen El Camino yet?
I just watched that maybe 2 or 3 nights ago.
Yeah, me too. Wow.
And I realized how much the actor that plays Jesse Pinkman has aged, and they really had to.
Yeah.
They had to really work on that a little bit.
Well, same thing with Todd.
Same
thing with Todd. Jesse Plemons is,
Yeah.
Filled out a little bit.
They filled out a little bit.
Yeah.
But they did a good job of delivering
But Jesse
it.
Plemons, though, I'm telling you what, playing that psychopath, just amazing.
You think they left that up in the air for another follow-up story? Or?
I want a Skinny Pete Badger show is what I want. Skinny Pete and Badger. Don't you think that would be a great show?
Yeah. Are you a Better Call Saul fan?
Oh, big time.
See, there's so many good things on. None of us have time to watch them all. I probably watched like 5 or 6 episodes of Better Call Saul, and then I had to call it quits just because.
You should just watch it because it's on Netflix, I think, or.
I'll have to
or Prime. It's on one of those.
I'll have to binge that when I'm on a vacation from.
Yeah, because they're coming back. They had such a long hiatus though. They've been off the air for almost a year and a half.
Yeah,
and sometimes you're going to lose viewers.
Well, there's a lot of shows that did that lost viewers because they would just take weird breaks between seasons.
A lot of times it's different actors doing other things.
Yeah,
or they're contracted to do a movie or what have you, and they did that with Game of Thrones because all these guys were doing movies. So, everything all right over there?
Oh, yeah. Reno was just showing me Robert Forster, the actor.
Yeah, Robert Forster. Who
put him in there.
No, I got a story about Robert Forster. My buddy Dave did a show with him once, and he was the kindest, most gentlest guy. On the set, he bought everybody letter openers.
Letter openers?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Robert Forster passed away. He died a couple days ago.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, the vacuum sales guy.
So that was his last...
I believe it was, unless he has something in the can already. I don't know.
But that was... He did a really good job playing
he was a real nice guy.
Yeah.
It was one of the real people in Hollywood. My friend said, of course he was in Jackie Brown. He did a lot of different Tarantino stuff. So yeah, Robert Forster.
He did some old war movies too.
He did.
Yeah,
He's done it all. He's one of those guys that Tarantino grabbed to rejuvenate his career.
Yeah.
Brought him back in like he did with Travolta.
Well, look at all the people that Tarantino really either launched or Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
I mean, if it weren't for Quentin Tarantino and Adam Sandler, Steve Buscemi,
Fargo.
Right,
Fargo.
But after Fargo, he would have. I don't think if it were for those two things, Boardwalk Empire would have been a thing. Which
they wanted, they wanted James Gandolfino for that.
For Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah,
I think Buscemi played that part.
I think
better.
He played it great because the actual really the real character
He's
Thompson,
closer to
Nucky Thompson, was a big dude. Was a real big guy.
He was, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Buscemi
did a great job.
He's got that weird, creepy personality.
Man, that show was awesome.
Yeah, he reminds me of a personal friend of mine. I'm not going to mention the name on the air, but
and being a fireman too, former fireman, Buscemi.
Yeah.
He lost a lot of his friends at 9/11. But yeah.
Great actor. He did an Inside the Actors Studio that was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to host that. Could you imagine being able to just get inside the minds of these people? That's back on. It's on Ovation TV now with a new host.
Now.
Yeah, and the last one they just did last week was the Fonz himself.
Oh, Henry Winkler. I saw that.
Winkler.
I saw the.
I haven't got a chance to watch it yet, but that's definitely what I'm going to be tuning into.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we seem to be getting close to the
we're getting close
end of the
about
road
minute and a half here,
and we're going to have to bring it out with how are we going to end this Sammy Hagar craze?
Oh,
I
got one tuned up for you.
Got one in mind, huh?
Oh yeah.
Do I get to sing along?
No. Darn. Because I'll turn your microphone off.
Yeah, I know. Jim's got all control over the microphone, which is probably a good thing.
I'm in control. I'm thinking about the listeners is what I'm thinking about.
You might, fair enough. Hey, you might control the knobs, but I have the pen, man.
You got the pen. I don't know what that means, folks.
All right. And with that, looks like we got one more in the can to Get Real with Ralph, and we're going to take this to the final break with some Sammy Hagar. Thanks for tuning in, folks.